Hey, what is up guys? It's Brendan here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to use meta objects on Shopify. What are they and how can you implement them on your Shopify store? And before we dive into things, I do want to mention if you don't already have a Shopify store, you can go and check out that first link down below in the description. That's brendanvalesky.com/Shopify. It'll take you right over to this page here where you can get started with a Shopify free trial. And of course, you can get started with Shopify for free, again, at that first link down below in the description. And without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the tutorial. So first things first, meta objects, what are they? They are a relatively new feature to the Shopify ecosystem where you can customize your store with meta objects. These are reusable custom content, and there's a variety of different ways that you can implement them, tons of different use cases. I'll be going through a couple of different use case examples and scenarios, as well as giving you some ideas and showing you step by step exactly how to create meta objects and implement them on your Shopify store. You could also utilize them as a shoppable gallery, a headline, product highlights, cart upsells, a variety of other different ways to implement them as well. One of the examples that Shopify links out to is Smash and Tess. So as you can see here, they are referring to meta objects and utilizing meta objects as referring to creators, so different collaborations that they've done on their Shopify store. There really is a wide variety of different ways to implement this technology on your Shopify store. Again, I will be showing you how to do it exactly step by step, and it really works great for those types of elements or feature sets that don't necessarily fit into a specific category that's already built into Shopify, such as a product or a blog post or any other information. This is best for information that you want to dynamically appear, but it doesn't necessarily fit in the categories that already exist within the Shopify ecosystem, so you can create your own custom references. Some of the other use cases also include referring to different sales. So maybe you have an ongoing sale that you're constantly changing. This is a way to dynamically update that sale data across all the different places where you want that sale referring to change on your Shopify store. That's one way you could implement meta objects as well. Basically, it's a dynamic piece of data that you can then customize and update across your entire site and choose different locations where you want that to show up as well. So hopefully this explanation is helping you understand meta objects as well. Beyond that, you can also extend the information beyond just changing out sales. So maybe you have spring sale show up in all the different locations. Well, maybe the time of the year changed, and then you update that to winter sale, and then it automatically updates across all those different parts of your site. That's one way you could implement the meta objects. Another potential way is you could also utilize them to create lookbooks, size guides, or new commerce objects, which in this video will be primarily focusing on designer profiles or creator profiles, as I have them listed in the Shopify tutorial store. You could also create store events as well. So maybe you have a recurring event or maybe even just upcoming new events, and you can advertise that across your Shopify store and then change out the upcoming event to whatever that upcoming event is, and it will automatically update across all those different places wherever you have selected for that to appear on your Shopify store. So we'll be breaking down exactly in just a second, step by step, exactly how you can do that with creating profiles, and I'll be showing you some of the other ways you could implement them as well, such as the store events is just another easy example to show you as another way that you can create this. Ultimately, meta objects are a way that you can create and edit content in one central place without worrying about publishing changes to your store's website design or layout. Ultimately, it's having that one source of truth, one place where you can edit this information to dynamically display without having to then update each little piece manually wherever you've selected for this to display. So I'll be getting in step by step right now into the Shopify dashboard, showing you exactly how to do this. Again, there are a wide variety of different ways to implement this. So without further ado, let's dive into the tutorial. Okay, so you're going to want to make sure that you are logged in to your Shopify store. Now, before I show you how to create your own custom one, I do want to show you one way I've implemented this on this Shopify store here. So this is a blog post here on the test store for tutorials. And if we scroll down here, I have created a dynamic meta object for authors. So right here, we have the author selected for this blog post is Abby Liv, and we have some lorem ipsum description as well as a website link to her website, as well as an image displaying the author's image as well. Now, you can select an author in Shopify for your blog post, but you won't have a nice little author box description, and this is where meta objects can come into play. Now, this is one example and use case I'll be showing you on the blog. You could also add this dynamic use case to a product page. Say, for example, you have maybe jewelry listed on your site or on your Shopify store. You could list out different designers. So maybe you have a different designer for each different product that you create on your Shopify store. That's another way. Or again, or if you have the smash and test scenario where maybe you do influencer collabs, you could create a meta object for influencers and creating that data source as well. So in this example, we're focusing on creators as a meta object title, and then that creator could they could be the author of a blog post. They could be a product author as well, maybe a product designer. They could be, this creator could be multifaceted. You could also, maybe if you create medical type content, you could have medical reviewers listed at the bottom of your descriptions or at the bottom of your products as well, or you could use it for ingredients lists. Wide variety of different ways to implement this, but of course the simplest way really is just through these author bios. So diving into exactly how I have this set up. So the way that you create your meta objects and how they differ from meta fields is that meta objects are a singular setup that has multiple different strings of information included. So in this example, we have Abby already listed on the site, right? You could create another creator profile for Jim. You could create one for Bo, or even another Liv, right? And then this creator piece, the creator object, right? This object piece of data that you have selected, you can change the way that looks on your site. So you can edit this in the Shopify editor however you want as well. But then the dynamic data sources can update for each of these different groups of people as well. And you can then update this in the back end of Shopify. So showing you exactly step by step how to create this, I just want to explain it best so you can really understand how this is working so that you can get a better idea as well on how you could potentially implement this in multiple different ways. So showing you exactly in the content section, this is where you're going to access meta objects. As you can see, I've already created one for Abby Liv. We're going to go ahead and create another meta object for another creator. So all you have to do is, now I'm going to show you exactly how to create a meta object as well from scratch in just a little bit here. We're going to be working with this templated creator design. We'll be creating another one in just a second as well to show you sort of what other meta object examples you could create as well. And if you're enjoying this video so far, be sure to smash that like button, hit the subscribe button as well, and the notification bell so you're notified whenever I upload a new video. So diving into things, to add another entry within the creator meta object, I will create another separate definition meta object as well for, let's just say we'll create an event one, just as another example. So Abby Liv is currently a creator. So we're going to add another entry here. We're going to select the definition creator. Again, I will be showing you how to create a definition meta object from scratch. We already have selected that, so we're going to select creator. And as you can see here, we now have a name, image, bio, and website all set up here dynamically as for the creator definitions. This is a great way to create dynamic data that goes into your site and appears in multiple different locations. It's just a great way to have one source of truth for your dynamic data and creating custom data as well. So you can add in your creator profile. Again, this could be a medical reviewer. This could be an expert that you want to feature on certain pages given their expertise and things like that. You just want to make sure they're prominently placed on your site or a collaboration, right? So we're going to go ahead and add in Jim. And we're going to select the image for Jim right here. So we're adding in that image. We're going to select some more lorem ipsum bio for this creator as well. Website, we'll leave the website as a link out to the blog post. So you could put any URL here as well. And then that handle will be Jim. So we've got Jim. We'll put Jim Doe, right? Just so we have a last name in there. We're going to select save. So now we have another entry added in the creator. So for these entries for creators, you can create as many different creator entries as you want as well. So this is a nice way to add more data to your store that doesn't really fit within. It's not a product, obviously. It's not really a customer. It doesn't really fit in the other sections within Shopify. This is a dynamic piece of content as the creator field. So Gym Dough, so to display Gym Dough, then I'm going to show you how that appears quickly in the online store, in blog posts. As you can see, we already have selected under blog posts, then we have the meta field. I'll be showing you how to create this from scratch as well in just a little bit here. So the creator blog post. Now, right now, this blog post is authored by Abby Liv, right? And then if we go in here, we change that creator. We're going to click change. So we're going to change this creator. Now you can select this as well to make this, maybe if you want multiple different people on one post, you can do that as well. So we're going to click save for Gym Dough, and then we go ahead and refresh the blog post. It might take a second here. So we've got Gym Dough as the creator. Go back. Sometimes it takes a second for Shopify to update, although it should update with that updated person, and boom. So as you can see here, now we have Gym Dough as the author, and all of the other pieces here are the same. So the way that it's shown on the site looks the same, but yet we have updated the author information for that specific post, which is really cool. So there's a ton of different ways you can implement this. Of course, there's infinite ways that you can really implement this ultimately. So that's showing it on a blog post. Now, to create a new meta field from scratch, we're going to go ahead and utilize the products section of Shopify. This is sort of if you want authors, then that's one way to do it. But let's go ahead and go to Metaobjects. This is if you are brand new to Metaobjects, creating one from scratch. This is how you do it, okay? So first things first, you're going to want to go to Content on Shopify, then select Metaobjects. I wanted to show you how it can appear on the site first before the step-by-step on how to build one from scratch. So let's dive into things. So all you have to do then is we're going to click Add Definition. Once you click Add Definition, it will come up with this page here. Alternatively, you could go to Settings and then go down to Custom Data, and then that will bring up Add Meta Object Definition. So again, there's a ton of different ways to implement this. We're going to go ahead and select professional. We're going to create a professional event. So this is a new meta object, professional event, that's different than the sort of author or creator profile meta object. I'll be showing you exactly. We're going to implement two of them on a page later in this tutorial, but we're creating a professional event. This is a brand new meta object, and then we need to go ahead and add in our fields, our group of fields that show the object's structure. So when you're creating a professional event that you want to appear on certain pages, right? Maybe upcoming, let's just list this as upcoming professional event, something like that. You're going to want to make sure, or even if you just want it as professional events, let's just do professional events as the name. Now, each of these fields, we're going to have a new professional event, right? So what information do you need for a professional event to be displayed on your site? Well, you're going to need a title, right? The name for the event. So you could title this as event name. So maybe if you have staff that's entering this information in, this can be sort of back-end information that helps the person understand what information they're putting in. You can make this a required field as well if you want to. You can add minimum, maximum character counts as well if you want. Limit it to preset choices. You could also select a list of values. Maybe if you need multiple pieces of text in that event name, but we're just going to keep this pretty simple, adding in the event name. Again, you can select multiple values for the name too. Maybe if you have multiple different names that need to go into that. But hopefully this is not confusing you too much with the multiple different data sources. I know this video can be, this meta objects in general can be mind-numbing, and sometimes you can get in your head a little bit, but you have to think like a developer and sort of just piece things out. Hopefully this tutorial helps you in understanding them, because They are kind of complicated and it can take a lot to understand them. So we have the event name, right? So we have our name, and then within the event name, we then have to add another field for the event. So in this event, this is going to have maybe a description as well. Maybe an image. So maybe we want an image. So we're going to go ahead and add an image here for the professional events. So we're going to call it an image, and we're going to we're going to deselect videos since we don't really want videos showing up in here. You could do that as well if you maybe have like a teaser trailer or something that you want to put in for this object, but we're going to just keep it simple with an image. You can add an internal description. You could even add multiple images as well. We're going to keep it simple with just one. So that's the image for the professional event. Then for this event, we also want to make sure that we have a date and time, right? So this is the date and time for the professional event. And there's just one value, so minimum date and time, maximum date and time. So you can set if there's a window as well for the date and time. We're just going to keep this as simple. So we're not going to add any specific rules to the date and time. And you can also add in maybe a URL. Maybe if you have an Eventbrite link or something like that. You could even add in money, so the price of the event, something like that. So we're going to go ahead and add that in as well. So price of the professional event, add that in as well. And you can really easily add in any other pieces of data that you need for this object, for this string of data that you're creating. Maybe if it's like an ingredient, maybe you have different dimensions or volume or weight or things like that that you need to add in. Maybe if you have certain numbers, text, other pieces of information. So that's what we're going to keep here for the event. So we have our name, image, date and time, and a price. So I feel like that's probably good. We're going to click save. Now we have our professional events meta object. Now to create the dynamic content, we're going to start adding entries or adding a meta field reference. So in order to actually add this data to your site, you do need to add meta field references. The meta field reference is just where it's going to appear on your site. So we'll get to that in just a second. We're going to go ahead and start adding some entries in for the professional events. So we've got our creators. Now we're going to start adding professional events. So as you can see here, we can start populating the fields here and adding in the information. So the event name we're going to have as, let's say, I don't know, any type of event. We're going to have a continuing education event or something like that. Maybe this is for medical professionals, something like that. That's just an easy example there. So it's a CE event. So we're going to do CE. And we're going to make this one about expanding your influence, something like that, right? Expanding your influence. I don't know, some sort of continuing education, expanding your influence. We're going to have an image for this event. So let's go ahead and, So there's a lot of different ways. Obviously, you can add any image you want. We're going to go ahead and add the creator here since she's the one putting on the event. So we're going to go ahead and put on. You could also add in another meta field, maybe as your host information. You know, there's a lot of different ways you could do this. You could set the date and time. So we're going to select this for Cinco de Mayo, so May 5th, and it's going to be at 9:30 a.m. and the price is, let's go $300. Maybe we'll go $99 event, maybe $150. I don't know. You can get creative with however much you want to charge for the event. That's one way to do it. Ultimately, you could also add a link to. So we're going to go ahead and expanding your influence. Yeah, maybe we'll change the event name to clothing experts expanding your influence. So that's another option, and we're going to change the image to this image here, just so that makes a little bit more sense. So we have women's clothing experts expanding your influence. We're going to go ahead and click save, and then that will be the information here for this event, professional events. And so then in here, you can easily edit all of that extra data that you want to display on your site, or creating out these separate pages, creating out these different professional events. So you could easily add in other information here too, if you want, like the host. So we're going to go ahead and edit the definition. We're going to go ahead, go back in here. We're going to add a single line for host. Now you could have multiple different professional event hosts as well. So we're going to create a list of values, potentially. So host, list of values, maybe if you have multiple different hosts. So we're going to put that up here, event name, image, host, date and time, and price. We'll also add in a link as well. So this would be URL. So maybe if you want to just title this Eventbrite link, something like that, and one value, and boom. So then you can make sure that people understand date, time, price, Eventbrite link. When they go to click on it and they see the host, all that data can be stored in here. And we're going to go back into the professional events. Of course, we have our host. Now, actually, funny enough, you can also reference other meta objects. So we're actually going to go ahead and do that here on this one. Since we already have our creators inside the meta objects, why not reference them, right? So we're going to go ahead and edit the definition of the host here. We're going to go ahead and delete that. So delete the reference there. So we're going to reference another meta object here. The meta object is creator. And you could have multiple different creators selected as host, professional events host. Go ahead and click add and event name, professional events host, and go ahead and click save. Oh, we already have host taken. Okay, so host for event, because that URL was already used, so that needs to be changed there. Boom. So host for event. Then we go back into this event specifically. Host for event, you can select. Look at that. We got Jim Doe and Abby. Maybe they're co-hosting, right? So we've got those two people listed, Jim Doe and Abby Live, as the hosts for said event. We don't have an Eventbrite link because this is just an example. We've got the price. So there we go. Now we've got our meta object information here. So how do we actually reference this on the site? So in order to add this to pages on your site and have it dynamically change based on what you're selecting or which event you're selecting, we're going to go ahead and then add the reference within the meta field. So we're going to need to go next to settings, scroll down here at the bottom to custom data. So this is settings, custom data. Now we have the meta object listed in here, right? Now, where is it going to be referenced, right? So is it going to be referenced on a blog post? Maybe, right? So we can go ahead and add it under blog post as well to add the definition here so that it can be referenced. So you need to go ahead and click add definition. We'll check that, and we're going to call this professional events. So it might be listed underneath a blog post so that it's marketed well, right? Maybe if you want it to appear there, we're going to refer to the other meta object, professional events. So professional events, one entry, and boom. So we're going to go ahead and click save there. So you have that under here for the blog post reference. Maybe you also want to refer to this on other pages, right? Maybe you have other parts of your site where you want to refer to this. Well, you could also select it for pages or other subsections as well. We're going to keep it just on blog posts for now, since we've already edited some of that information within blog posts. So next, what you need to do is then go to the blog post. So if we go to online store, we go down to blog posts, we go to edit this here, we edit the blog post, we're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom, and now you should see meta fields. So 2 meta field definitions are available. We're going to click show all, and then this will dynamically change depending on who you select. Now, right now we only have 1 professional event, so we have that there. Now we click save. Now this is selecting which professional event we're going to be marketing on this blog post. Now, the thing is that this will not appear on this page until we actually make a place for it to appear in the site editor, in the Shopify store editor. So that's what we're going to do now, is go into the Shopify editor to actually make this event appear and have it show on the site. Of course, we already have our creator blog post, maybe the author of the blog post. And now we're going to go ahead and create our event, a professional event that's listed or related to this blog post. Of course, you know, obviously this is maybe the creator and the actual author of this blog post, or an expert for this specific blog post. The event, maybe it doesn't necessarily directly relate to the blog post, but this is just giving you an example of where you could have this appear. So next, we're going to go into the online store. Of course, we've already added all the other necessary information on the back end. So now we're going to create the front end version of this. So we're going to go ahead and click customize here on the Dawn theme. You do need to make sure that you're updated on your Shopify theme for this to all work as well. So next, we're going to select blog posts and default blog post. So as you can see, default blog post, we have our author or creator section. Now we're going to go ahead and add in our event. So we're going to go ahead and add section to template. And we're going to select image with text, because that should display a lot of the information that we need. Now, depending on the meta object that you're creating, you may want to use different sections to display different information, to display different dynamic information. So maybe some of the other sections that you could add in, maybe a slideshow makes sense if you have multiple different images that you're going to try and show. Maybe if you have other dynamic information, it may make sense to use other theme subsections to display that information. But we're going to go ahead and stick with image with text. So we're going to go here, and next, all we need to do now is connect dynamic source. You're going to make sure, so once you select your section, you're going to go over here to connect dynamic source. You're going to select the image. Well, not just any image. We're going to select under, since this is a meta object reference, we now have professional events listed here. You can add your meta fields as well, but we already have the meta object meta field reference. So we're going to select the image. And as you can see here, now we have our image dynamically selected. I'm going to go back to the image with text, insert dynamic source, professional events, and we're going to select the event name. So we have the name in the big text here. We can go ahead and delete this here. We don't need that. We just have the event name. So this obviously will dynamically change as well. So we're going to make the heading size a little bit smaller because it's kind of oversized. Maybe we can bold this as well. Okay, cool. You can actually bold the event name there. That's cool. Next, we're going to go into the, I don't think we actually added an event name description, funny enough. We're going to go ahead and add in the professional events. Now we have the date and time. So we have the date and time. So cool. So since we selected it as May 5th, so we have date and time here. And then we're going to go ahead and hit enter. And we're going to also add in the professional events price. So we also have the price in here listed as well. So there's a lot of different ways you could maybe make this look a little bit nicer. Of course, this is just showing you the data and dynamically connecting it, of course. So date and time, price, and then under button label, under the button, this is where we're going to, so book event, we're going to put that here. So book event, and then underneath the button link, connect dynamic source, professional events, Eventbrite link. So people know, hey, put the Eventbrite link there. We're going to go back. So now we have this all added here, and you could add this to really anywhere you want on your site, and this will dynamically update whenever you change out the event on the back end. So you can add as many events as you want, and then this little piece of information here will automatically change. So this is how you edit how it appears on the site. You could also make this image a little smaller if you want. You can make it large. We're going to stick to small. So boom. And then we've got, different background schemes you could do. You could change the accent colors depending on how you want things to look on your site. That really gets into more like site design and colors and all that. We're not really getting into that in this video, but I'm just showing you, you can easily edit, how it looks as well, changing out the padding, the content information, however you want it to appear on your site here. So we're going to leave that as adapt to image, and now we're going to click save. And then on the actual blog post page, as you can see here, now we have our event created. Now, of course, we don't actually have a URL linked to for this event here, so we don't actually have a URL since we don't have the Eventbrite link, but we have the price here listed. We've got the date and time. And so, yeah, there's of course you can make this look however you want, maybe make it look a little bit nicer. If you really want to make it pop a bit more, market your event better. But it's really cool that you can, add in this custom information and data to any page you want. Of course, if you want to change out the event that's being marketed on a given page, then of course you just go in and add another listing. So you can change your authors, change your events, and there's really infinite different ways that you could implement these meta objects. So of course, once you have everything saved in here, there's a lot of different ways that you could even make this information appear. Again, like I mentioned with the different sections, if you want to display this information a little bit differently, but the source you'll at least have one source of truth in the back end for editing each of these subsections and meta objects within your site. So hopefully that helps you understand meta objects a bit better within Shopify. Again, you go to your content meta objects, just making sure that you have that meta field reference wherever you want it to appear, because you do need that in order to select what piece of data is appearing on a page. So again, you go into like your online store, blog posts, we have that meta field reference for blog posts. We have it down here at the bottom. I know a lot of you guys watching the different meta field tutorials on my channel is something you need to make sure you do, otherwise it will not appear. So to do that, you just go to your meta fields, you go to your settings, your custom data, making sure that the meta field is available so you can refer to the meta objects that you then create in the meta object creator. Maybe you want it to appear on product pages. You can add in event for product page, something like that. Make sure you reference the meta object. We'll do the professional events, and boom. So just make sure you have that there so you're able to actually reference it on the product editor. So now if we go to products, we go to Beanie, right? Scroll down the bottom. Now we can make sure we actually select the event that's going to be marketed there. Again, you will still have to go into the Shopify editor to make it then appear on a given page. But hopefully, if you got confused along the way, just go back through this video, watch it again. You can add this to any page you want, just making sure that you add those meta field references for your meta objects. But meta objects are really cool. Tons of different dynamic ways you can implement them on your Shopify store. Again, if you found this tutorial helpful, be sure to smash that like button. Again, if you don't already have a Shopify store, you go and check out that first link down below in the description. That's brendanvalesky.com/Shopify. They'll take you right over to this page here where you can get started with a Shopify free trial. Again, you can try Shopify for free at that first link down below in the description. So guys, that pretty much wraps up today's video on meta objects and how to implement them on your Shopify store. Again, if you found this video helpful, be sure to smash that like button, hit the subscribe button as well, and a notification bell so you're notified whenever I upload a new video. Anyway, guys, that is all for today's video, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.